getting information from HHS and that preventing you from moving ahead with budget targets. I guess, what information, I guess, are you looking for, and what response or lack of response have you received?
Well, it's a variety of information. We sent them a letter outlining the questions we've had, some of them going back to we've requested 4 or 5 months ago, and we haven't gotten answers. We told them we wanted those answers in 10 days. This was like 2 weeks ago. We still haven't gotten it. They're very apologetic and say they want to get it to us quickly, but we still haven't gotten it. And I'm not going to move forward on the HHS appropriation bills if we can't get information. We have to have data.
Yeah.
And so that one's on hold for now.
But what information specifically are you
Well,
seeking?
I don't, off the top of my head, I don't remember them. What I can do is probably go through that list and get you some of the types of information. So, hey, Brad? Wait a minute. They're asking about the kinds of information HHS.
It's a variety of information covering a number of different programs within the department, and the members, both parties have brought to committee chairs. So.
There's like a page or two of questions.
Oh yes, yeah.
Is this a new problem, or did you have this problem last year, or is HHS less responsive under new leadership?
Well, I don't want to address the leadership issue. It seems to me that we have more questions we're having difficulty getting answers to this year, primarily with HHS. Although we're seeing it in some other areas, but I think they've gotten better because we've kind of put the word out there, folks. We've got to have information before we can appropriate. So HHS is probably the biggest one we have the most questions.
And are your counterparts in the Senate, are they on board with this idea of not moving forward with HHS appropriations?
Well, I don't know if they are or not, but we've got the questions and they have their own questions. But until we get the answers, I'm not comfortable moving forward, regardless of what the Senate does, until we get answers to those questions.
So can you elaborate as to, I guess, the difficulty, that presents for you in the budget process and how it's going to impact that?
Well, it's things like this. When they're requesting, or if the governor's requesting a certain dollar amount for a particular program, we have questions about how many people are being served, how many new people are being served, those types of questions. We don't feel we can proceed with funding that line item until we get those answers. That's where it's difficult for us as appropriators. If we're going to be guardians of the taxpayer dollars, we've got to know how the money's being spent. And those are the types of questions that we have.
So how willing are you to move other budgets forward, without being able to resolve the HHS budget?
Well, again, the timeline as well as we do. We want to move the other budgets forward. That one, we've had other questions with other departments. That one seems to be the most difficulty, where we're having the most difficulty getting information with HHS. So we're going to try to move the other ones forward. If we can get answers from the other departments, we'll move those forward.
We've seen last year and again this year that some of the fiscal notes, the Legislative Services Agency, also has not been able to get answers from HHS.
Right.
Is that a concern to you, and have you raised that
Yes.
issue with people at HHS?
Yes.
Why they're not responsive to the
Yes.
LSA?
It's all tied together. For us to do our jobs, we have to have good data. LSA has to have good data, and that's why this is an issue we think it's time to take a stand on. We've got to have good information.
What response, if any, I guess, are you getting from HHS as to why you're not getting a response, or why there's such a delay in getting information?
What they tell us, they're working on it, and I understand that. It might take longer. And our 10-day timeline period wasn't an absolute hard and fast rule, but it's now been 2 weeks. And so we understand they're working on it, but give us something.
Right.
Work with us here.
But I guess, are they saying anything as to why it's taking so long? Or, are they saying that it's because of staffing shortages, or because of the complexity of the information being requested?
Just that we have a lot of questions. It's just that they're working on it, and they'll get to us as soon as possible.
But you said some of these questions are going back 4 or 5 months?
Yes.
And have they explained the reasons for the delay with that?
No. Just that they're working on it. So we'll get there.
I guess, have you brought this up with the governor's office at all directly, trying to kind of put pressure on them to?
No, we've dealt directly with the director of HHS.
Okay.
That's who I feel it's important for me to work with on questions for that agency. So, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you bet.